Hey everybody, so this was my stream of Kerbal Space program the other day on twitch.tv/JROWB, that's JROWB. If you want to see the full unedited stream, you can find that in my streams playlist. However, this was going to be a nice short video that I cut together to just show you the best parts. However, haven't really done this with this particular game before, so the game volume is way louder than my voice is, and I didn't realize it at the time, so it's really not fun to listen to, especially when I'm in the building area here and when I'm using my thrusters. So I'm just going to kind of do a voiceover and hope that it works out. At that point, I was just referencing the shadow for a second. I kind of went for an X-Wing design here, kind of by accident. I'm also just a huge Star Wars fan, so it's kind of to be expected. Here I'm talking about the thrust to weight ratio, and because this video also recorded in 720p for some reason, I'm going to go ahead and shoot another one pretty soon, the next few days here, where I mess with my Twitch settings before I stream so that it gets recorded in a good quality and so that you can actually see the numbers that I'm referencing when I'm talking about my thrust to weight ratios and whatnot. So here I've already put on a fairing, which will cover up the ship as it launches, so that none of my little pieces get ripped off and all that kind of stuff. I've added a lot of fuel and a mainsail engine at the bottom. Now I'm creating a single extra liquid fuel booster with struts and fuel lines, and then I'm just going to copy that over. Here I found out that because I put my struts on the main rocket before the extra rocket, when I copied the extra rocket, it didn't bring the struts with it, so I went back to one, put the struts on the small rocket along with an engine. Here I am putting the struts on, and then when I copy it over, everything gets copied over, and it's a lot more efficient because you can actually see things, and you're not trying to strut things between 8 different boosters. There I looked at my thrust to weight and it wasn't good enough, so I decided we'd go to 4 of those and then 4 of bigger ones that will be jettisoned first. Going back, I would definitely have it so that all 8 of the extra engines are going at once and we're just saving the middle one. And then I would have the bigger fuel tanks with the bigger engines feeding into the smaller ones, so that when they jettison, I still have a full ship, which is so nice. Here I'm adding some, I think they're called Thumper, but no, Thoroughbred. They're called Thoroughbred solid fuel boosters. So they're going to help me get out of the atmosphere, which is the hardest part. Changing your orbital body is some pretty hard stuff, and we have to do it 2, 3, well, okay, so like 4 times technically, because we have to leave Kerbin, then we have to leave the sun in order to enter Eve, then we have to leave Eve to enter the sun, and then we have to leave the sun to enter Kerbin. So we actually have to do it 4 times, but the big ones are going to be leaving Eve and leaving Kerbin. The biggest one, of course, being leaving Kerbin, because it's got the strongest gravity of the 2 planets we'll be visiting here. Here I'm just double checking to make sure there's nothing extra I can do, like any extra missions that I can get. One of them was to test the drogue parachutes that I was already going to be using. So I made sure to grab that. There's another one that wants me to plant the flag on Eve. Wasn't sure if we'd get to that, and I didn't design my rocket to have yep, fell over. But I didn't design my rocket to have landing gear, so it was not an option for me. This looks a lot faster than it was. It was a very slow takeoff. There's definitely some stuff I'm gonna mess around with and improve a bit before we try to actually land on Eve. One thing being, of course, adding landing gear. I'm also gonna add some more fuel to the top stage that's designed, and I'm gonna design that so that it can it's supposed to like get to Eve, land on Eve, get off of Eve, and then come back. So it needs like probably around 5,000 delta V, I would say, maybe a little bit more. But that's just because I'm not sure how annoying EVE's gonna be. I need to do some research. I think the atmosphere is actually pretty thick, so I could probably use parachutes and just make sure I have a scientist, not a scientist, an engineer to repack them. So as you can see at this point, I've already jettisoned my solid fuel boosters and my big rocket boosters. Here I'm going to use the MUN as a sort of gravity assist to fling me out into space. I was hoping to get Minmus too, and it looks like I would be able to pretty easily, but you got to remember that by the time I get to out where Minmus is right now, which is where it's showing me my path going, Minmus is not going to be anywhere near that. So here I am flinging around the MUN, made sure to get my solar panels and stuff out so I'm generating electricity. Here I'm trying to get the money shot for the X-Wing look. Doesn't really work with the huge booster though. That booster actually did last longer than I thought it was. I thought it would peter out on the way to EVE. It actually got me all the way there, and then helped me get out. I ended up with, because of how I did it, I ended up with 0 fuel, really far away from Kerbin, but I was on a basically crash course with Kerbin. So my periapsis was like 23,000, and you'll see that later on in the video. But yeah, judging by that, there's like no possible way I could have landed on EVE and gotten back with that kind of fuel, because it was tight. It was tight. And doing some of these maneuvers, I could have been a bit better about it. And it ended up being like a 4-year flight for Jeb. He was out for a long time, 4.5 years, I think, actually. But I actually ended up conveniently picking a good time to go to EVE. The problem is that I don't know when the good time to come back to Kerbin would be. So I definitely didn't hit it. At this point, I am messing with my periapsis. I messed it up a couple times, had to reload because my mission wanted me to do certain things. Oh yeah, so I actually circularized my orbit around EVE. But then when I was looking at coming back, I was like out of fuel. Like I wasn't gonna have enough fuel. So I actually went back to my quick save and did my science again. That was weird. Yeah, I don't know how, like when I was building, that got somehow disconnected wrong or whatever, but it happened. Here I'm doing my science. It kind of works. I found a better way to do it, so that I got a few more crew reports and a few more EVA reports, and then my science would just be better because some of it was from space away from EVE, and then there was space from high above EVE. So I got some science that was high above EVE and some science that was near EVE, so that like doubles my science, which is good. I ended up with like, I think I got like 643 science from this mission, which was awesome. And like I said in the video, but forgot to cover in the voiceover yet, I have been playing this world a long time. Like this is like my main career for Kerbal Space Program, blah blah blah. So I've been playing it for a long time, so I already have most of the stuff unlocked. I haven't done a lot of the stuff with the planes yet, but I'm gonna be getting into that soon. I thought it'd be funny, which is why I kind of started streaming and getting into this kind of stuff. But I need to unlock it, so I needed science, so I needed to go to EVE anyway, get some science. Double whammy, 2 birds, 1 stone. Efficiency. So, excuse me. Yeah, I mean, if there's enough interest in a new series, I'll start a new world. I've been thinking about it anyway. So here I made sure to get an EVA report over that big flatter spot. And, I can't remember what it was. I think it was like Explodium Field or something like that, or Explodium Lake. Here I'm taking another bathroom break. I was checking to see if turning off my mic in OBS would make it so that it wasn't recording. Found out it does not. But also, even though my toilet is super loud, you can't hear it flush. But it's like a Flushmaster 9000. I swear, it'll suck you in if you're sitting on it when you flush. Use with caution. Here I'm leaving Eve's gravitational influence. Now I'm orbiting the sun, and I'm going to mess with my maneuver until I get to a point where I'm close enough to Kerbin to either get an encounter or to easily get an encounter with a little bit more boost. Yeah, and you see I have like 64 Delta V. Nope, never mind. I still have 2 rockets. I haven't gotten to the tight point yet. Yeah, I still have this massive rocket on it. There we go. It gets kind of suspenseful toward the end because I get to a point where like I have 64 Delta V, and I have to make sure I get 2 land on Kerbin. In retrospect, I probably could have made my periapsis a little bit higher than like the 20,000 that I went with, because after like it's like as soon as you start hitting atmosphere, you start slowing down a lot because you suddenly have friction, which is what slows like everything down fast. Um, so even if I was hitting it like 50,000, I probably would have not quite circularized, but I would have not escaped Earth's gravity. So that's what I was worried about, was that I would, even if I came in super low, that I'd be going so fast that I would just shoot out the other side of Earth's atmosphere and just keep going into space, which is essentially a gravity assist launch. It's like kind of like what I did with the Mun early on. I was trying to avoid doing that. So here I'm slowly getting closer because my orbit is smaller than Kerbin's, which means I'm traveling around the sun faster. Here, now that I'm getting closer, I'm starting to mess with it. I found a pretty close um, intercept. That was where I did something risky, and I shouldn't have. I just kind of burned fuel toward it, hoping that it would bring me close enough to, to land. Here, I'm doing like the last bit of kind of like matching its orbit, doing some fine-tuning stuff to just try to get those closest approach markers really close. And there, right there, I just happened to get an intercept, which is where your main gravity is coming from the planet. Now I'm just kind of messing with this with a maneuver that's really far away and you can't see it. I'm just slowly, you can see there's still like red. So like this green line on the right side of my nav ball, there's a little bit of red at the bottom, and the burn time is red. Now it just turned to like solid yellow / green, which means that now I have enough fuel to do this maneuver, and I'm just trying to get it as close to Kerbin as possible, while with as little fuel as possible. So yeah, now you can see I have like no, I have like, I have almost no fuel. I think I literally had like 63 Delta V remaining. So yeah, at that point you can see my trajectory was still showing that I was going to be not orbiting Kerbin, just kind of slingshotting around it. There goes my solar panels and stuff, but there, as I just go through the atmosphere and it slows me down, it brings me from exiting Kerbin's gravitational influence area all the way to landing on Kerbin very quickly because of how much friction slows you down. And this was where I was like really looking at getting that parachute one. So those are the drogues that I was supposed to test between 5,000 meters and 11,000 meters, between 120 meters per second to 280 meters per second. And I was within all those ranges and deployed them, and it did not count it as complete. So I might have to go and manually complete that one. Here I am fixing that. Somehow my fuel tank got connected right to my heat shield, and those parts that kind of flung off were just extra. Here I'm just deleting my old debris, checking out the probe that I sent and didn't actually mean to leave out in space. Just kind of happened. Hey, thank you for watching this episode of Kerbal Space Program. Like I said, had some hiccups on this technical difficulties, as it were. I'm going to fix that on my next stream. And that way the next video can be a little bit better quality, higher resolution for one. Audio you can actually not have your ears bleed to. You're welcome. I had to listen to it. You didn't. Also, that was a 3-hour video, and I got it down to 15 minutes with just speeding through it. I know it's not going to be as there won't be as many takeaways from it. You won't be able to learn as much from it, but the next video is going to be much better in that regard. You'll actually be able to pick some stuff up and get some ideas of what Kerbal Space Program is all about, and all the stuff you can do in it, and what it can teach you about orbital mechanics and space engineering and stuff, which I think is something that a lot of people are going to be interested in coming up in the next few years here, as we prepare to go back to the moon with the Artemis project. We're preparing to go to Mars. It's crazy. We're finally in the final frontier. If anybody wants to know, because I'm sure somebody's going to ask, I took a deck board to the face at work. We were building the deck, and as we were cleaning up all the old deck boards, one of the little ones was on the bottom, and I was grabbing it, and it just shifted all the weight, and then the board I was holding ended up spinning around and hit me right in the face, and I was like, oh, well, we put our blood, sweat, and tears into building people's decks and whatnot for them, because I literally hurt myself on every job. Like, I got that from the table saw, just like hitting my hand against a guard. I got this from a star drill bit that I was using. I was putting pressure on a screw with my thumb using a drill bit, and it went right into my thumb. That was cool. I can't remember what this one was from, but I'm sure it was from work. I got wicked sunburn on the back of my calves from kneeling down to use the chop saw on the ground. And if you've ever worked on a deck, it's almost impossible not to scrape up your legs because of all the studs you're walking in between. And because this guy has a hot tub on his deck, he has a big beam under there that's concreted into 4x4s, and there's a little hole where that concrete is, and I slipped on the hole because it's loose gravel, scraped the heck out of my freaking calf on the 4x4, and then that got sunburnt. So ouch. But hey, we put our blood, sweat, and tears into every project. Anyway, small tangent there. My bad. Anyway, if you want to watch me stream live, you can check that out at twitch.tv/JROB, JROWB. I'll put that in the description below. If you liked this video, give it a like rating. If you didn't like it but didn't dislike it, go ahead and give it a like rating anyway, because it really helps me out. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe. That's the favorite thing you can do. If there's one thing you could do for me, it'd be to subscribe. I'd be happy. I'd be satisfied. Comment down below any ideas you have, anything you want to see me do, any games you want to see me play. More than happy to oblige. Yeah, I know we got a lot of views on that last trip to Denver vlog. Not a lot of subscribers though. But somebody said that I should do more videos like that. I would love to. However, traveling is kind of expensive. But hey, if you subscribe, eventually I can travel all the time. Stonks. They're going up. Anyway, have a good day, and thanks for joining me.